My ex thought he'd won. He traded me in for a newer, shinier model, built his dream home on our land, and bragged about his freedom. But what he didn't know was that his dream was about to cost him $45,000, all thanks to a little, anonymous letter I wrote. You know that gut feeling when you realize the person you love doesn't actually see you? That was me, 3 years into a relationship with Liam, my ex. He was 51, charming in public, but cruel behind closed doors. A textbook narcissist, always right, never wrong. He could make me feel small with just a sigh or a sarcastic, "Are you serious?" He'd tell people I was too emotional, too sensitive, always overreacting, and for a while I believed it. But what finally broke me wasn't a big explosion. It was 1,000 tiny cuts. Every promise that he'd do better, every time he'd roll his eyes when I spoke, every moment I saw his phone face down on the table when I walked in. And when the mask slipped completely, I saw who he really was. He wasn't building a life with me. He was using me to build his. He worked as a panel beater, always hustling for cash jobs, bragging about how he could outsmart the system. No taxes, no boss, no worries. Why would I give the government my money when I earn it with my own hands? He'd say. It was his motto, his pride. But for me, it became a clue, because that arrogance and that smug, untouchable attitude would become his downfall. See, we had this dream together, a quiet life on his 20-acre block of land. We'd talked for months about building a container home there, off-grid, sustainable, peaceful. It was supposed to be our project. We spent weekends sketching layouts, walking the block, marking where the garden would go, where the shed would stand, where we'd drink coffee and watch the sunrise. Then one day, like flipping a switch, he turned cold. Distant, secretive, short-tempered. I'd ask, "What's wrong?" He'd say, "You're imagining things." But I wasn't. Within weeks, I discovered the truth. He was seeing someone else, younger, naive. Someone who still thought his sarcasm was confidence, not cruelty. And when I confronted him, he didn't even deny it. He just smirked. "Maybe if you weren't such hard work, I wouldn't need someone who actually appreciates me." That line burned. I remember my chest tightening, my pulse hammering. I packed my things and left that night, but not before noticing something strange. In the yard, behind the workshop, a new structure had gone up. The beginnings of a container home, ours, but now clearly his. I could almost hear his plan forming. Finish the build, move his new girlfriend in, and live the dream life we'd designed. Without me. The thought made me sick. He was going to enjoy our future with her. And worse, he thought he'd get away with it. At first, I tried to move on. I told myself, he's not worth it. I went to therapy. I tried meditation. I tried everything to make peace. But every time I drove past that road, the turnoff to his property, I felt it, that knot in my stomach, that unfinished business. Then, one day, I saw a photo on social media. His new girlfriend, grinning, holding a mug, standing right in front of the half-built container home. He'd done it. He'd finished our project, without permits, without inspections, just like he bragged he could. And that's when it clicked. I didn't need to scream, or cry, or confront him. All I needed was a pen and an envelope. So I sat down and wrote an anonymous letter to the local council. It started simple. Dear Council Officer, I'm a concerned neighbor. There's an unregistered illegal structure being built in a bushfire-prone area. I've also noticed children living there, without proper septic systems or fire safety measures. There weren't any children. I made that part up, but I knew it would get their attention. Then I mailed it. No name, no return address, just quiet satisfaction. Weeks passed, then months. And then, one glorious afternoon, I got a message from a mutual acquaintance. Apparently, council inspectors had shown up unannounced. They'd taken photos, measured structures, asked questions he couldn't answer. They found everything, the unpermitted shed he was using as a workshop. the unapproved container home he was living in, the lack of proper plumbing or septic system. And because he was already occupying the building, they hit him with 2 charges. $17,000 for living in a dwelling without an occupancy permit. $28,000 for illegal building works. That's $45,000 in total fines. And to top it off, he was ordered to remove the entire structure, demolish it. Start over, legally this time. Can you imagine the look on his face when that letter arrived? The man who thought he could cheat everyone, cheated by the system he mocked. But I wasn't done yet, because I remembered all those cash jobs he'd bragged about, the ones he never reported. So, I made one more anonymous report, this time to the tax office. It's hard to say what happened behind the scenes, but let's just say, when the tax man comes knocking, life gets very inconvenient. Documentation, statements, audits. He had to account for every dollar, every off-the-books deal. And that's the beauty of poetic justice. It doesn't always happen overnight, but when it lands hard. Sometimes karma needs a little nudge. I didn't stalk him. I didn't message him. I didn't gloat. I just watched from a distance as the pieces fell into place. Friends told me his dream life fell apart fast. The new girlfriend didn't stick around once the fines started rolling in. Who wants to live in a demolition zone with a man drowning in debt? He had to move back into a friend's spare room, his 20-acre empire now just a legal headache and a pile of shipping containers rusting in the sun. And me? I slept better than I had in years. Not because I ruined him, but because I restored balance. For every cruel word, every manipulation, every moment he made me feel powerless. I took back a little piece of that power. They say revenge doesn't heal, but I disagree. Sometimes it's not about revenge. It's about justice, about reminding yourself that you're not helpless. He taught me what it feels like to be disregarded. I taught him what it feels like to be held accountable. And that, to me, is the sweetest kind of closure. So tell me, what's the most satisfying revenge story you've ever witnessed? Drop it in the comments because I live for poetic justice. If this story made you smile even a little, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because every week we share real stories where karma finally gets it right. Until next time, stay smart, stay kind, and never underestimate the quiet power of a well-timed letter.